Oh, that's a good team. All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Monday. Slick Rick's doing sports. Rick Delgado's going to do the news. David Zier's going to join us in a little bit. He's now back officially from that hellhole of New York City. We'll talk about what went on there today. 50 people in, 50 people out. Oh, no, we can't be objective. Oh, this is going to go well. Sure. All right. Day 2, here we come. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But let's do some news right now. And here with the news, sponsored by our friends at 7 Cells, 7cells.com. Use our code LFSXB at checkout. 20% off whatever you put in your cart. Great savings on great stuff over at 7 Cells. Is Rick Delgado. What's going on?
All right. Well, it's definitely a different world we live in after the weekend we just saw. And I'm not talking about the Masters or MMA or even my failed bachelor weekend that I was planning on. No. This was much, much worse than that, as Iran lobbed missiles and drones at Israel. And according to the various headlines you may have seen across from AP, stating that Iran and Israel shadow wars expose what's next. Israel weighs response after Iran fires missile barrage. Iran's Israeli response to the Iran attack may be imminent, according to sources. Congress grappling with foreign aid after the Iran attack is coming from headlines right across the spectrum, right and left side of the aisle. Iran attack on Israel sets up bogus reason to pass more legislation for more money. White House holding briefing on Israel, vows retaliation in Iran attack. But again, it happened over the weekend. We saw this attack on Israel, mostly, non-real, no sites that were really pertinent or important from what people are saying. But Israel, according to the Reuters here, is pledging a military response to the Iran attack amid calls for restraint. They always want to call for restraint after they start the fight. It's like when the bully punches you in the face and then you start hitting him back and they're like, no, wait. Well, that's exactly what's going on here. Israel's military chief said Monday his country would respond to Iran's weekend missile and drone attack amid calls for restraint by allies anxious to avoid an escalation of conflict in the Middle East. And when he's talking about allies, he could be talking about Joe Biden's one-word foreign policy that is obviously not working.
You're kidding.
No, I'm serious. Cut number 3. You want to see it? Here we go.
I have one word. Don't.
Don't.
Yeah.
Here we go again with don't.
Yeah. You don't believe me? Cut number 2.
Can't believe
Cut
that.
number 4. Yes.
Can't believe that hasn't worked.
Yeah,
It's very authoritative.
Cut number 4.
And I wonder, what is your message to Hezbollah and its backer, Iran?
Don't.
Yeah, that time he said it 3 times, but it was just one word.
3 times with the squint didn't work either. Huh?
Yeah,
Might have been 4
He tried to do the Clint Eastwood squint, didn't really work. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu summoned his war cabinet for the second time in less than 24 hours to weigh how to react to Iran's first ever direct attack on Israel, government source says. Israel's military chief of staff, Halevi, said the country would respond but provided no details. And this launch of so many missiles, cruise missiles, and drones into Israeli territory will be met with a response, he said, in southern Israel, which sustained some damage in Saturday night's attack. Iran's attack, launched in retaliation for a suspected Israeli airstrike on its embassy compound in Damascus on April 1st, has increased fears of open warfare between Israel and Iran and heightened concerns that violence rooted in Gaza war is spreading further in the region. You don't say.
Noah Rothman has an important piece today. And, I can't stand John Bolton, but I heard John Bolton today, and he's right on the money with this. And they both basically share the same idea that this direct attack on Israel should not be the subject of wildly divergent interpretations of what it was. And specifically, Noah Rothman says, no, it was not designed to fail. No, it was not an elaborately telegraphed de-escalatory overture masquerading as a destabilizing revision to the regional status quo. It was a radical, an audacious assault on Israel, and its aim was to kill as many Israelis as possible. Period. That's what it was. For anybody calling that somehow Israel has to be very thoughtful or decisive in what they're going to do or think about it and discuss and think about really what this was designed for and all this questioning and re-questioning of the events that we saw unfold. 300 munitions. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. There is some other takes which question what Iran was really trying to do. A lot of people are saying they're trying to save face because of that attack on April 1st on their embassy, because from what I understand, this was coordinated with Turkey, which is a NATO ally. And that coordination was meant to let us know, hey, we want to do something. Can you guys sign off on it? Basically what we're finding out, I think, by this kind of coordination, if it's true that Iran went through Turkey so they could tell us what was going on.
This is my second lead story of the day with the point you're getting to right now.
Okay. Is that we're funding both sides of this.
Yes. Out of the Jerusalem Post today is probably the most important story of the day on this. And that is, who is this from? It's actually by Reuters, but out of the Jerusalem Post. Iran informed Turkey in advance of its operation against Israel. First paragraph. Iran informed Turkey in advance of its planned operation against Israel, a Turkish diplomat source told Reuters on Sunday, adding that Washington had conveyed to Tehran that any action it took had to be, quote, within certain limits.
So amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So effectively, you have Biden signing off.
Yes.
To some degree, or to all degree on this.
Basically giving the green light to the Iranians that, yes, you can launch your 300-plus missiles and drones, half of which I hear didn't even get off the ground because their technology is crap. You can launch it at our ally, at our biggest ally in the Middle East. Feel free.
I mean, I would think, I'm certainly no expert about the region, but this, to me, has to be the biggest story coming out of this, besides, obviously, the ineptitude of the whole thing.
Well, Erdogan might be in trouble in Turkey. He had elections 2 weeks ago, a local opposition that were stunning, and Erdogan's a real scumbag. So.
But if Biden knew about this, effectively signed off on it, I mean, I don't know how that's not the biggest story of this whole thing.
Well, I think the biggest story is that he doesn't want to participate in Israel's response. That's even worse.
Well, I don't think that's a surprise, though, given the way he's treated Israel.
It is because Biden is riding the middle of the road, like to win Michigan and Minnesota again, and we're going to get run over and start World War III.
Right, but I'm saying the way he's tried to hamstring them, hand tie them basically in what they're already undertaking, it's no surprise that he doesn't want them to undertake a response now to this either.
Yeah. Well,
he wants to put them in a straitjacket as much as wherever he can.
Sure.
But to find out that basically that he knew about this and basically said, okay, well, what? What do you mean, okay, well, it has to be proportional?
Right.
I mean, that is crazy.
He's trying to appease the Arab world because he knows that the United States is going to be a powder keg this summer with pro-Hamas Islamic actions around the world.
And if you notice, who's been quiet on a lot of this stuff? Egypt, Saudi Arabia, very quiet. Why is that? Because they pretty much side with the Israelis on this. Because keep in mind that when these things are launched against Israel, Israel protects more than 1.5 million Muslims that live in Israel. They protect some of the most important Muslim holy sites as well. So when you sit there and see Iran launching attacks and missiles, you got the others like Jordanian's King Abdullah. I think that's his name, right? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
he basically took Iran's prime ambassador to task, saying, "Hey, you guys are not going to tell us anything to do. If we feel like you guys are launching stuff that's going to incur on our people and our place, we're going to take it out."
Trump's accomplishments in the Middle East are being unwound.
I think those Abraham Accords are coming into play here, kind of quietly.
Well, they are, but we negotiated under Trump that Israel could use Saudi airspace, both civilian and military, and that's been reversed by Saudi Arabia. And you saw Saudi Arabia join with Iran, the BRICS, moving away from the U.S. dollar because they don't feel safe with Biden in office. So they are also hedging it the other way, too, because the Shiites in Iran were arch enemies through the Houthis with Saudi Arabia. They were in an 8-year civil war, lobbing rockets into the Saudi airports. And now, like, Saudi Arabia it doesn't really, I think they got to hedge both sides here, right?
Well, not according to what I'm with Rick. What Rick and I've tweeted about this twice today. How important the development this is in this whole what happened over the weekend.
Yeah,
Saudi Arabia formally acknowledged today that it had played a role in the newly formed regional military coalition of Israel, the U.S., Jordan, the U.K., and France in their efforts to prevent this attack from Iran. The individual subtly acknowledges Saudi Arabia's supposed involvement in thwarting the attack drones bound for Israel the previous evening, citing that Saudi Arabian airspace automatically intercepts any suspicious entity, says a report on the royal family's website.
But they also wouldn't meet with Blinken, Saudi Arabia, and left him hanging because they can't stand the Biden administration.
This is the first time these 5 militaries have been assisted by Saudi Arabia in joint defensive military operations partnered to deter an Iranian attack. This announcement from the Saudi Arabia royal family is a landmark for peace in the region. And then they have some footage here showing some of this in action. But you can directly thank 45 for all of that.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Which is to your point, Delgado, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Is that the accords are coming into play here in a way that people I don't think realized at the time when they were putting them together. And if you remember, Iran got a lot of money, $6 billion, right? That supposedly, it's non-fungible. They can't move it. Senator Kennedy had these questions for Deputy Treasury Secretary Adewale Ademayo. Right here, it's cut number 9. Check this out.
And you issued another waiver on March of 2024, not too long ago. That was 6 weeks after Iran killed 3 American soldiers. So you gave Iraq permission to give Iran $10 billion, didn't you?
No, Senator. As I mentioned, this was something that started in 2018 under the Trump administration. It allowed Iraq to purchase electricity and to store that money in Iraq. None of that money to date will ever go to Iran. The money is being held for humanitarian purposes.
You're not telling the truth, Mr. Secretary. No disrespect, but that's just not true. Senator Menendez and Senator Scott made the point. We all know, unless you peaked in high school, you know that money is fungible.
There you have it from our favorite senator. Taking these guys to task over what they've been doing to enable Iran to fund their terror.
I mean, John Kirby
I got him too.
I'll be there just tomorrow. It was a very productive day. I did about 10 hits on the network. A lot of information. I got 7 pages of information from today. It was pretty extraordinary.
Well, let's go through some of it.
LSU Patriot said Zia sounded over it when he called into earlier show.
What was your last hit on?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm just saying what they said. Zia sounded over it. Like, I guess that you probably was long in a day.
Well, I did a couple of War Room hits. The first War Room hit was just great. I did the whole block with Bannon. about Israel and Hezbollah and Shiite terror. That was great. And what's going on in the city and the crime and the violent crime increases, even though murder's down. And I spoke to the National Association of Bail Reform president this afternoon. I passed it on to Steve about, I can explain it, about, the reason for the recidivism with the bail reform. There's judicial confusion going on in the city on how to interpret the bail reform laws. And people are getting out and assaulting people the next day. But it was pretty incredible. It's a lot of information. And then you had the Hamas protest down there, 500 of them around the corner from Trump. And then they marched to Brooklyn Bridge. And
it's amazing. If you burn the LGBTQ flag, you end up in jail. But if you burn the American flag, no one has any issues with it. It's pretty
crazy.
Syverson Dave said, I think Ron Goldman tried the don't line.
Israel's been striking Lebanon with missile attacks again today.
I love the fact that Kennedy told that guy he peaked in high school.
Who did he say that to?
The guy he was talking to.
They're all liars.
Huh? How come he retired still? Did he retire?
I guess he retired today. I know. He's sick.
Who? Oh,
John Sterling.
Yeah, he's sick.
Yeah. Did like 5,000 games.
Got health problem.
25 years. But people were like a little upset with him over the last few years,
All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Monday. Real America's Voice. Slick Rick's doing sports. Rick Delgado's doing the news. David Ziers joined us from his day in New York City. He's going to tell us all about it here in a second.
Oh, my God. He smells like the city, too.
Make sure you follow us on all our social media at LFS6B. If you're watching there, well, welcome on in. If you're watching on Real America's Voice, welcome on in as well. He's the host of Breaking Point, 8 a.m. on Saturday mornings. I know many of you watched last Saturday morning, another great show. And he was in New York City today with Harry on the Highway and others, covering everything about this scam, election interference. Let's go get a conviction and hope that changes people's outlook on the election and on him. Case where Michael Cohen is going to be your expert witness and his own attorney is going to get called to the stand to refute basically everything the guy said. But don't worry. 50 jurors came in today possibly, and all 50 got dismissed because none of them said they could be objective. So, I mean, what are we doing here? Just a joke.
I think. Did you say Turley had a great rap on it? Because I heard his clip, and
well, yeah, guys who are not even like big. I mean, you wouldn't call any of these guys like Trump supporters.
No,
like
definitely not.
Turley, Rich, what's his name over at the National Review, Andy McCarthy. None of them are Trump guys. They're every one of them to one says this is the most absurd, not even novel legal theory. Just like copy paste 34 times to get to these. And basically this whole idea that it's hush money and these are agreements that these offices, Bragg's office uses these agreements with people they don't want talking after they leave. Guaranteed they do. Everybody does. Everybody does. So the whole thing, we know what's going on here. And I tell you, I've changed my whole, you want to keep him from going to his son? Go ahead. Keep him from going to his son's high school graduation, and let's just get that out there. You want to throw him in jail if he doesn't show up? Go ahead. Let the American people see you do that. Let the American people see you do either one of those things. Go get your little conviction in New York from a jury that you're never going to find somebody who can be objective, and all the left-wing media is going to jump up and down. Go ahead. That's where we're at, and let's see. Roll the dice. That's where we're at. But probably to give us better analysis than mine, Here is David Zier. So give me your take on what happened today.
I have about 7 pages of data. I'm going to try to sum it up in 2 minutes for you. It's so incredible.
Before you get to the data, being there,
well, it's all related. It's all related because, right? So they're letting stuff into this trial that has nothing to do. The crime isn't hush money that he's accused of. It's about how he potentially or allegedly covered up the accounting, saying it's legal bills with Michael Cohen when they gave the money, because Michael Cohen laid out the $130,000 and they reimbursed him, and hush money is not illegal. That at best, even if it was a crime, it would be a misdemeanor. But Alvin Bragg is allowed to bring into the trial the Playboy Playmate situation, Billy Bush's interview with or locker room talk with him on the set in Hollywood.
No, actually, that got struck.
Not all of it. Not all of it. Some of the transcripts.
They're not allowed to do they're not allowed to do the video.
Some of the transcripts, they're not allowed to do the video, but some of the transcripts and then emails involving people like Hope Hicks and others are going to be allowed of the Billy Bush conversations that took place. And there's levels of it. And what is going on is if Alvin Bragg really cared about women's rights, he would care that 800 women were raped in New York City since January of 2023, and that already this year, in addition to the 29,000 people who are victims of felony assaults, 7,000 felony assaults already this year in New York City, 1,100 of them were just in Manhattan under Alvin Bragg's DA-ship. And there's been a 7% increase already in the first quarter of misdemeanor assaults. So they don't care about women's rights. And they're trying to paint the picture that Trump was this predator. It's got nothing to do with the charges. And I did an analysis from all the newspapers that I could find. And I already identified 7 of the first 10 jurors. Were New York Times and CNN and MSNBC watchers, probably more. And, again, you can't be, they just only want Trump haters on the jury here.
I saw something that on the E. Jane Carroll thing, they've confirmed that there's Biden employees.
Right.
And there could be on this because the judge won't allow any questions on it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That's what's going on here. While the city grapples with recidivism, I spoke to the National Association of Bail Agents president at about 4:45 today before the war room hit. She's also the head of the New York State Bail Association, and she's saying that there's a judicial confusion. Michelle Eskenazi, that the legislature in New York and the city council in New York City and everybody, the legislative bodies have usurped judicial power, and we have a public safety crisis with repeat offensive, conveniently not quantified, because they don't want the real numbers out here, as a direct result of bail reform. So it's been compounded. And if you saw the Grand Central attack with this little girl that was hit by the same guy who hit another little girl in front of the sister, and now in front of the mother today, I forgot exactly what happened, but these guys are getting out and committing the same crimes over and over again. And I thought it was so incredible. Prosecutor Conroy today asked if Trump can get 3 $1,000 fines for violating the gag order, and they're saying the next one will land Trump in jail, something to that effect here.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
I'm waiting for Trump to break out into that Al Pacino from Injustice for All. You're out of order. He's out of order. This whole damn place is out of order, And it just goes on and on. A new chapter in American history. First president in criminal trial, John Adams, warned us and tried to protect us from political persecution through the courts in America, and all of that is being violated. Just an extraordinary turn of events. I will be back on the ground tomorrow morning. I'm heading back out in like 4 hours back to Manhattan. And it's going to be
50 more people can come in the front door and out the back.
Yeah. Well, 50 of 96, I believe, jurors, right, were dismissed already. 50 of the first 96. And, but the word, so the just to paint the atmosphere of what's going on down there, you had 500 pro-Hamas protesters on the corner down the road. They marched up to the Brooklyn Bridge. and you had, a couple of crazies out there. And but you've got beggars, and you got New York is not the same place. And FIDI, the financial district, has crime. I interviewed this guy Patrick McGowan, grew up down in downtown Manhattan. You always had to worry about your bike being stolen and stuff like that, but you knew where to go and not to go. And now there's psychotic crime going on. It's psychotic crime, violent attacks, assaults, getting hit in the face with bottles on the subway, getting pushed downstairs, going to church, robbed, they steal your car, and the kid's only 16 with multiple arrests already. You've got, the knockout game going on the street. You've got people being pushed onto the subway platforms. You got the Foot Locker the other day where they stole tens of thousands of dollars, I believe, in Nike shoes in an armed robbery in the middle of Manhattan with no consequences. And these people are fearless. And, while Alvin Bragg is paying attention to this, this is what's going on, and the people in New York are suffering over it.
Yeah. All right. Well, more from David Zier on what's going on in this sham, scam, bull crap trial. I can't say the other word that I'd like to say, but we know it. We know the deal. I'll say this, and I might be way off. There's no chance President Trump's going to miss Barron's graduation. No chance.
Yeah.
I'll say it right now. No chance. There's no way the judge is not going to let him off that day. Or if the judge sticks to it, the president should just go and say, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Throw me in jail.
Contempt.
Let's see it. Be my guest. One of those two things is going to happen. All right, live from Studio 6B, back. More news, sports coming up right after this. Look worse.
These are all Sterling
They're going to
clips,
get their
Rick?
guilty, and that's all it's going to be.
Home run call, that was a base hit? Yep. All right, I'll play one or two of them.
Well, play one or two from
when
what?
Was that from? A couple of years ago?
Play one or two of what? From where? Licensed, not licensed, what?
John Sterling, is that... I got the clips from Rick. I just got them. I think they're MP3.
Are they credited with... Are they audio or video?
They are a video, but we can just play the audio if we don't let the video through.
Well, who is it? Yes?
I don't know. They were all
likely?
Twitter clips, so I don't know where they came from originally.
I don't have to play them.
No, we can't. We can't play
use
that.
the wild card logo. No, you can't.
No. Let's just we'll play the audio.
Delgado just wants to get me in trouble. We can't play. So we'll play. We could play the audio. Okay.
And the audio is the important part anyway.
How about a highlight of that knockout? The UFC, Big D. Gaethje.
And also, the
face
judge,
down.
That's the greatest 15 seconds in MMA history.
That's what they just said. It was one of the greatest knockouts in MMA.
there was
history.
a good fight.
Last second to go.
Incredible.
Max Holloway, huh?
That guy goes down as, he was already a legend, but.
The judge's daughter raised like $93 million.
Yep.
Max Holloway, huh?
When was that fight?
Saturday night.
UFC 300.
It was a good card.
Stacked top to bottom.
I'm actually going to report on that first because that should be that. We got a lot of fans that love MMA and are that watch the show too. A lot of people. Somebody said David Z needs a midget co-host. I don't know what that means. But
What does that mean? I saw that.
Maybe you needed somebody to.
You look tall on camera, maybe?
Oh. Get the short end of the stick. Who knows? Too many short clips. not a midget. It's little people.
And I could talk about the rally in Schnecksville. There were like 15,000 people there. Fox reported 6,000 scumbags.
Of course.
15?
Huge. There were 11,000 in the parking lot, through the parking lot already, at 5 hours before Trump came on.
All right, hour 2, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Monday night, 9 p.m. Glad you're in. Slick's going to do some more sports. Rick Delgado's got some news. David Zier joining us just back from New York City all day today on the Trump BS nonsense trial that'll go to day 2 and day 3 and day 4. And what do they think this nonsense is going to last, 6 to 8 weeks?
Yeah, day 42.
What a joke. What an absolute joke.
2 months?
But they're taking Trump off the campaign trail.
Ridiculous.
They can't even get a jury.
I heard Dershowitz say his attorneys have to file whatever the motion is to get it so he doesn't have to be there every day. And if the guy shuts it down, go through the process to get it up to whoever you need to get it up to. There's got to be some things that his side can also do. Like file a motion like that, and then whatever happens like that. But who's ever heard of such a thing? You have to be here every day, and then
well, they won't even let him
throw
go
you in jail.
The judge was very firm today that he won't even let Trump go to about the immunity stuff in the Supreme Court next week. That my trial's a big deal too, because Trump's lawyer, said it's a big deal, and it could shape the future of the country, basically. And he's not allowed to go to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, again,
decision.
I would say you're allowed to do whatever the hell you want, and you should do that. That would be my advice to him, but I'm not on staff. Probably the worst advice.
There's a story about...
Although sometimes I think my advice might be better than some of the legal advice he's getting, if I'm being honest. I see some of it. I see he's done some moving around of some attorneys who's on what cases, and some people are now off some of these cases, which is probably a good move.
Mm. Yeah, and also keep in mind the Secret Service detail. Go ahead, try and put him in jail. With Secret
Jack Posobiec, who you see on this network every day, just tweeted, Trump should go to the graduation party anyways.
Yeah,
that's absolutely right. There's no way he's missing that. I for whatever the reason, there's no way he's missing that, and nor should he. So, all right, let's do some news here. Hour 2, we'll do some news and then sports. Let's do the news with Rick Delgado. News is brought to you by our friends over at 7 Cells, 7cells.com. Use LFS6B as your checkout code. It'll save you 20%. What's going on, Delgado?
All right. Well, this one, a little different story, but in the same vein, because it has to do with someone from Trump world, as police take possession of E. Jean Carroll's unregistered handgun after testimony in Trump defamation trial. Yes, you heard that correct. Carroll revealed on the witness stand that she had a handgun at home but didn't have a license for it in the state of New York.
Well, no, isn't that jail?
Isn't that a jailable offense?
No.
Last I checked. But we'll see here what happens. Police in New York took possession of the gun belonging to writer E. Jean Carroll in February after she said during testimony in her defamation lawsuit that she had an unlicensed firearm at home, according to a police report obtained by NBC News. The chief of police in Warwick, New York, visited Carroll on her home February 15th. Why are we only finding out about this now is the question. Discuss some open issues.
Well, how do you get away with that?
It depends on who's funding your lawsuit, Damon. Depends on which liberal billionaire has control of things. The report states that including Carroll's disclosure of the handgun while she was on the witness stand January 17th during the second day of the civil trial, had told federal court in Lower Manhattan that she kept a high-standard revolver, 9 chambers, she said, at home with ammunition by my bed. I still don't have a license, she added. John Radar, the reporting officer, said in his report that he offered to secure the weapon at the police station's property for safekeeping.
So, I'm sure if Don Jr. said the same thing, he'd get the same exact treatment. Oh, well, don't worry. We'll just come over and take it, and no problem.
Yeah, everything will be fine. Under New York state law, a person can be found guilty of criminal possession if they possess a firearm, such as a pistol, that has not been registered. The felony carries a maximum of 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
What's the minimum?
I wonder when she's going to going to criminal trial over her breaking of the law.
Well, that would be my question, because certainly if it was me or you or anyone else, that's exactly what you'd be facing.
Yeah.
I would think. I wouldn't think you could just have a handgun at your house, talk about it on the stand, have them come over and just quietly say, okay, we're going to take that from you and have a nice day. I don't think that's how it would work for anyone else, especially if you're of the wrong political persuasion. Again, could you imagine Don Jr. saying that in a trial?
My question is, why are we only finding out about this now? Carol's gun became a contentious topic under cross-examination in January at the hearing, as Trump attorney Alina Habba pressed Carol on her gun ownership and whether she knew she needed a license for it. So it's unclear why police waited almost a month to inquire in person about the unregistered gun to Carol. She said she had it at home, or whether police are still in possession of it. So there's that on that story. Kind of a strange, story when you think about it. It's like, well, what the heck's going on here? Oh, that's right. Different standards of justice depending on who you support. Supreme Court is rejecting a BLM activist bid to evade police officer lawsuit. Finally, a win for the good guys, rejecting an appeal brought by Black Lives Matter activist D. Ray McKesson. The Supreme Court on Monday ruled skip deciding on whether the leader of the demonstration can be sued for an inquiry to a police officer an injury to a police officer caused by another protester. McKesson was leading a protest in Baton Rouge in July of 2016, following the police killing of a black man. Faces a lawsuit from an officer who was hit in the head with a rock or piece of concrete thrown by an unidentified person. The protest sparked by the death of Alton Sterling after an altercation outside of a convenience store where he was selling CDs. McKesson, who is represented by the ACLU, says his actions leading the protest are protected under the Constitution's First Amendment. Man, they run to the Constitution as fast as they can when they're looking for protection, which guarantees free speech and right to assemble. No justices dissented from the court's decision not to hear the case, but liberal Justice Sotomayor wrote a statement explaining why the court did not need to intervene. She mentioned the recent Supreme Court ruling, raising some of the same issues that could benefit McKesson as the litigation continues. So there you have it from that. But they reject his bid to hear his suit. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully, he can be held liable, because as we've been told, all you have to do is say something or tweet something, and it could be your fault.
How, by the way, how do these people get away with blocking these roads and not getting? Why is it in Florida is the only place I saw today is they tried to do this all over the country? San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge, they did it all day. Seattle, they did it all day. New York, they did it. Florida, they did it. Florida's the only place where they enforce the law that every governor could do. There's nothing of First Amendment about blocking movement or doing what these people are doing. Why are we accepting this? Why do these places accept this?
Yeah, well, that's my next story. Go to cut number 1. We'll run this as B-roll. As you can see for yourself, pro-Palestinian protesters shut down the I-80 in Oakland and the Golden Gate Bridge for hours as part of a worldwide economic blockade in solidarity with Gaza, Damon. The CHP Chips said 38 people were arrested and face conspiracy charges. The first protest Monday morning happened northbound on the I-880 in Oakland at 5th Avenue. It was reported around 6:15. Protesters brought barrels filled with concrete onto the highway. They chained themselves to the barrel. Law enforcement had to cut through the barrels before they could arrest the protesters. As of 1:15 in the afternoon Pacific time, all lanes on the I-80 northbound were open. 7 protesters were arrested at that location, according to Chief Goodbrand from the California Highway Patrol, the Golden Gate Division.
Why isn't every driver that's in one of those cars Why are they not all getting out and in unison going out there and beating someone's ass? Why? Explain it to me.
It happens.
Explain to me why there's not a coalition of those people in all of those trucks and cars getting out and going over and beating somebody.
Someone's ass.
I hate to call for violence here.
People have run over protesters.
Good.
Well, you know what?
I don't know about good, but I mean, that's what, I mean, come on.
A little rough.
I don't know if
Mr.
beating-
Road Rage over
Yeah.
here.
Listen, if you're scared for your life,
You know what?
never let me into one of those situations because I don't want to go.
I don't know if beating ass is going to be the solution to this, but actually getting all the drivers coordinated to drag these people out of the way so you can get traffic flowing again, I think would be a better use.
look what happened during the George Floyd riots. If I was
Forcefully
stuck
dragged.
with my family in a car and people are surrounding my car and they got the potential of dragging me out and killing me in the street, they're getting run over, buddy. You know? And that a lot of people did that during the George Floyd and some of these protests on the highways, right? What were they standing on the highway for like 2 years ago? After Floyd, there was another thing, climate change or
I
something.
mean, these climate changers who just sit down there. I mean, I see people, they drive their cars right up to them and then they just
Yeah, I seen
they
that.
sit there.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of a guy doing
Go
that.
grab them by the neck and beat their ass and then move them out of the street.
Well, you see that a lot in the UK. The UK, the drivers in the UK,
Yeah.
they just don't have any time for it.
Yeah, and in Germany too,
Yeah.
there's that video of the guy getting out and dragging everybody
Yeah.
off to the
Dragging
side.
them off to
Did you
the
see
side.
the police in Florida today?
No.
They had 0 seconds to tolerate that. 0 seconds. That's what they had. As a matter of fact, most of the videos that came out after the first one, where they all just got violently pulled out, all the rest of them stayed on the sidewalk after that. Oh, I wonder why.
There was a guy killed in Denver, like in 2020. He was on the hood of the guy's car, and the guy ran him over. And what is he supposed to do? You know?
Yeah, I saw a horrifying video today, actually.
Yeah, we all saw it. Well, that's just
It's just insane.
Which one?
the truck driver who
Truck driver
I
trying
don't
to
know what
stop.
happened in this situation. This
Yeah.
guy I guess he had a weapon. He opened fire on the guy who tried to steal the truck. I
Yep.
guess he missed. And then the guy backed the truck up.
Then
and
he stole his truck, right? Because that was his truck. He was trying
Yeah,
to
it was
prevent
his
a
truck.
carjacking.
Right, but the guy fired at him when he was already in his truck.
Right.
Right. And then I guess he must have missed, or well, I don't know what he had or what he was using. But then the guy backed the truck up, and then it's just chaos after that. And the guy gets hit by the truck and gets killed. And it's just brutal video, just brutal, absolutely brutal. But I mean, I just don't understand why any state has to accept the Hamas. Whatever you want to call it.
All this nonsense. Let's call it what it is. Nonsense.
garbage.
It's garbage.
Support.
But in a lot of these states, you've got government officials that are Hamas sympathizers. They're pro-Palestinian, and California, Oregon, Washington State, Colorado,
Crazy.
Michigan.
I mean, I just don't get it. So, all right. Anything else in the news, Delgado?
Well, I got another story out of California. I don't have time for right now. We'll get to that a little bit later in news. But that's all I got for right now. There.
Travel with a Rottweiler on one of these bridges and see what happens. All right, we'll do sports when we get back live from Studio 6B right after this.
I got to drive it there, Henry.
I grabbed my TaylorMade right out of the back of the truck.
Good Lord.
Oh, man, I'd be in so much trouble if that ever happened.
Oh, man.
Especially if I was oh, Jesus.
Trying to get to the airport?
Can you imagine if I was traveling, let's say, with my cousin Roger, Paul, Essie, and we were trying to get to the airport to get out to Vegas, and we had these schleps sitting there.
You trying to get to Vegas? Oh, my goodness. Forget it.
And you had
I mean, it would be just...
you had a date with a card table.
You take a 9-iron, you take the sandwich, I'll take the TaylorMade driver, you take the 5-wood, let's go.
Oh, Big D, were you at
just use the handle, so turn it around. Great,
Right.
Don't kill them, but...
And remember, when you hold it, you got to grip it like this.
Yeah.
Grip it like that, and follow through. Make sure the follow through is good.
Big D, were you at the groundbreaking for the new Jake's $210 million expansion earlier today?
No, what is it?
$210 million expansion at Jake's 58 today.
Where are they doing that?
I guess
in a new parking lot.
Next door, the property, whatever, yeah. I didn't see the whole thing, but I just saw a big hold to do.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a big to do.
They're expanding.
Well, the Las Vegas Sands is breaking ground over by Hofstra, aren't they?
And they didn't even get
the old Coliseum.
They didn't get
their approvals yet,
right?
They're not too hot.
Oh, they didn't get the approvals on that. Huh?
Nassau County could kill a good thing any day. You know, they don't want it. They're pushing back.
You know what we do have approvals for?
What's that?
2 reads.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
When is the Jake's thing going to be done?
I don't know. I didn't see it. It's in the news. It was today, press release today. I didn't. I just saw a quick clip. I didn't have time. I was running all over the place today. But yeah, $210 million. I saw Phil Boyle. By the time I got to the clip, the volume was out. Man, he's
the president, right?
He's the
Phil Boyle.
Old Phil Boyle, the old senator, New York State senator.
Need to get close with old Phil.
No, I know him very well. I just saw him at a fundraiser.
Come on, Phil, give me
about a month ago.
Machine's going to be.
He's like, "Hey, Rick, what's going on?" I said, "Hey, you got any extra slot coins for me?" No, I don't say that.
Let me find a winner here, Phil.
Come on, Phil.
What am I reading here? PMBG.
I got an ace in the hole.
Okay, got it.
It doesn't have meaning. It does.
They're gonna have table games?
I doubt it. Not in Long Island. God, they had a whole thing.
Yeah, but that article, if it's from News 12, it's probably about 2 years old.
You got to walk around. Well, for 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. And when I say only, trust me, they are the only one. They have been great supporters of RAV, which is why we were proud to partner with them. Patriot Mobile offers dependable nationwide coverage, giving you the ability to access all 3 major networks, which means you get the same coverage you've been accustomed to without funding the left. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you're sending the message that you support free speech, religious freedom, the sanctity of life, the Second Amendment, and our military, veterans, and first responder heroes. They're 100% U.S.-based customer service team. Let me say that again. They're 100% U.S.-based customer service team makes switching absolutely a breeze. Keep your number, keep your phone, or you can upgrade if you choose. Their team will help you find the best plan for your needs. So just go to patriotmobile.com/RAV, patriotmobile.com/RAV, or you can call 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation when you use the offer code RAV. That's patriotmobile.com/RAV, or you can call 972-PATRIOT, and you get free activation when you use the offer code RAV. Well, financial experts thought we were in the clear. They were anticipating around 6 rate cuts for the Fed this year, and then the inflation data came out. Whoops, higher than expected. Friends, inflation isn't going away because it can't. U.S. is $34 trillion in the hole, and yet we keep printing money, which pushes the prices you pay every day even higher. So you can either bury your head in the sand, or you could try to do something about it. Well, what do I do, Damon? Well, here's what you do. You diversify a portion of your savings into gold with our friends over at the Birch Gold Group. Gold is your hedge against inflation, and Birch Gold makes it easy to own. They'll help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered, and we just talked about taxes. Tax-sheltered's got to be sounding pretty good. Tax-sheltered IRA in gold, and you don't have to pay a penny out of pocket. Text America to 989898 and get your free information kit on gold. Then talk to a precious metal specialist on how to protect your savings from persistent inflation, and you do it with gold. Just text America to 989898. Text America to 989898. Do it today. All right, 19 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Use our code LFS6B at checkout at MyPillow. You'll get the shirt of the month as a bonus if you send us your receipt showing that you used our code. Plus, you'll get entered into our gift card giveaway, 10 $100 gift cards. We'll give away at the end of the month for 10 lucky winners who've used our code during the month of April. And all you got to do is send us your receipt to lfs6b at yahoo.com, lfs6b at yahoo.com. Slickster, what's going on?
All right, Big D. Well, stacked night, Saturday night, UFC, T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. Let's get it on. UFC 300, Alex Pereira retains Max Holloway, new BMF champ. And this is ESPN reporting. Alex Pereira needed less than 4 minutes to prove who the best light heavyweight in the world truly is. Pereira, after checking an accidental kick below the belt from Jamal Hill, sent his opponent to the canvas with a vicious left hook after he swarmed Hill with ground and pound. Referee Herb Dean was forced to stop the fight. Ground and pound sounds like what Big D's going to do at the next traffic stop there. Hill came into UFC 300.
That's exactly right.
That's it. Next blockade.
Let's see Alex Pereira pull up to one of these things and see what happens.
Yeah, I got to get to the T-Mobile. He's in the way. Hill came into UFC 300, the former 205-pounder champion, without actually losing the belt as an Achilles injury during a basketball game forced Sweet Dreams to drop the title. In just 10 MMA career fights, 8 of his wins have come via knockout. But that wasn't the only fight. Also, Kayla Harrison defeated Holly Holm. Kayla Harris, two-time Olympic judo champion. She took care of business with a rear naked choke. That sounds like your bachelor weekend, huh?
Yeah, choked out.
And the big fight, which was probably one of the better fights. Big D and I were talking offset earlier. Lightweight BMF title champ Max Holloway defeats Justin Gaethje by KO. The BMF title is not a real championship, but Max Holloway did the gimmick proud on Saturday night with an explosive last-second knockout of Justin Gaethje at UFC 300. Holloway, 26-7, a former featherweight champion competing at lightweight in this bout, was in control from the start with faster hands and elusive footwork that made it difficult for Gaethje, 25-5, good fighter, to find him. For Gaethje, the defending BMF belt holder, the fight became increasingly difficult after Holloway connected with a spinning back kick to the face right before the horn to end round 2. The kick busted up Gaethje's nose, and his face was a bloody mess with the rest of the way. Gaethje did floor Holloway with a right hand late in the round 4. What unbelievable. Although UFC stats did not credit him with handing Holloway the first knockdown of his career, the punch turned the tide briefly, but Holloway retook control in the final round as the final seconds ticked away. When all Holloway had to do was avoid a late knockout, he instead walked to the center of the octagon with 10 seconds to go and motioned for Gaethje to come trade punches with him. The audacious invitation got the crowd roaring, and the two men started slinging big punches at each other. Right before the horn was the sound, Holloway connected with a right hand that sent Gaethje face first to the canvas. Referee Mark Goddard waved off the fight as a knockout at 4:59. 1 second to go, Big D. It was one of the greatest wow moments in UFC history.
I mean, what was great about it is that he was obviously winning the fight. He won all 3 rounds. There was no doubt about it. He had no reason to take that chance. Yep. He could have floated around, run around the ring for 15 seconds, and it's been done.
Right. No.
Not Max Holloway. He was like, let's throw down.
Oof. And how?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. What a great fight. Just really one of those special ones. And, a little bit of a shock for Yankee fans earlier today, right, Rick? John Sterling, 85, Yankees longtime radio voice, retires. I don't know if anybody saw this coming. Jorge Castillo of ESPN reporting. John Sterling, the longtime radio voice of the New York Yankees, has decided to retire, effective immediately, the club announced Monday. Sterling, 85, joined the Yankees broadcast back in 1989. He went on to call 5,420 regular season and 211 attend postseason Yankee games. Sterling had taken on a reduced role in recent seasons and traveled less often because of health concerns. The season was his 36th in the booth and 20th working alongside Susan Waldman. I am a blessed human being, Sterling said in a statement. I have been able to do what I wanted, broadcasting for 64 years. Man, as a little boy growing up as a New York Yankees fan, I was able to broadcast the Yankees for 36 years. It's all to my benefit, and I leave very, very happy. And, well, we have a couple of clips I like to get to. Some, well, just audio clips, obviously, because we can't play anything licensed on the network there. But how about we go to, Aaron, cut 14. How about the iconic Yankees win call of the 96 series? I want to go to that one first. This is John Sterling from back in the day.
The stretch and pitch. Swung on and popped up again. Off third. Hayes has room. Hayes makes the catch. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Famous thing. The Yankees win, right? And that'd be the last time the Yankees won it all. Right?
No, it wasn't.
They won, what, 98?
They won in 96, 97, 99, 2000.
Okay, they kept winning.
They're the anti-Dallas Cowboys. They win all the time.
They don't win all the time. They haven't won in 20 years.
They won in 2009.
Yeah.
When else do you want to go?
19. Well, okay.
Cincinnati. When was the last time?
Like I said,
last time 1998.
98 was their greatest season.
They're the anti-Slick Rick sports fans, the teams.
Hey, give me one more clip there. Let's go to cut 13. A home run call that was a base hit. This is a classic Yankee style.
The pitch to Stanton. There it goes. Deep left. It is high. It is far. It is gone out of the ballpark. A Stantonian home run. Now, what did I do wrong? What did I see wrong? He's at first base.
Sounded like me talking about the Yankees championships. That's a wrap in sports. Big D, back to you, the great John Sterling.
That ball was off the green monster. The left fielder, catches it off the wall, throws it in.
Great game. Yankees were, I think they won 125 games, including the playoffs in 98.
Yes.
Yankees were great. Yep. And they're good this year. They look like they're going to win 140 games.
How the Sixers matching up in the playoffs?
Yeah, they got a tough game with Miami. A little play-in action Wednesday night. Then we're going to come down and kick the Knicks. You know what?
First, you got to get in.
Knicks do not want to see Embiid. Trust me. He's smoking a big deal.
He's going to be hurt.
Wait, so you're not even in?
No, playing. We have the play-in. You got to beat Miami at home Wednesday night. Well, Embiid was out for 2 months. Your best player. 34.7 points a game.
What place are you guys in? 50 on Wednesday night.
You don't want playoff Butler.
Well, then if they lose, they got to go and play. They got a second game. Loser plays. I have the information.
Wait, so if you win, you get the Knicks in a best of what, 5?
Whatever,
7?
But probably best of 7. And
I don't think so. I think
first
round 1
round?
is best of 5, right?
Best of 5. I don't know.
Or did they change it to all 7?
NHL went to all 7. No, NBA is going to be 5. Yes. So what happens is if the Sixers win, obviously they play. The next first game is on Saturday. If they lose, then they have to play. I believe they have to play. Not Milwaukee.
Oh, so you're in either way.
No, if they lose,
because
there's still a play-in.
They lose, they still have a second shot. Because they're number 7.
Now, who do the Knicks have to play in the play-in?
Knicks are in.
Oh, the Knicks are in.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they're good enough to be in on the start. Gotcha.
Yeah, about time.
They got the number 2
Well, the
seed,
Sixers normally are not in this position, but Embiid was hurt for 2 months. You lost the guy averaged big 34.7 points a game. Big deal. Randall is not Embiid, please. Oh, he won the MVP last year, Randall? Did he win the MVP? Who won the MVP last year? Who won the MVP last year? Well, exactly. That's what they always say when they're getting wiped in a debate. Rick Delgado.
News fit to be. What'd you say? What'd you call it? News.
No, no, they lost. Usually.
What'd you say, Delgado shirt should say?
They lost to Boston in the second round.
Rick Delgado News fit to, what did you say? Fit to fly?
Yeah. News fit to fly.
Shut up, Aaron.
News
Get
fit
Lauren
to fly. With a little UFO picture.
That's it.
Oh,
sponsored,
Lauren?
Sponsored by Mars Bars. Brought to you by Mars Bars.
What time is it? 30. What are we doing? Doug, I'm coming to you here.
You want to do news?
You got more?
Should I talk about the rally?
Okay.
One or two other things.
I shared a couple clips of some rally people.
Oh, good. Oh, what, that I did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I was going to tell you. I didn't get to send anything up, but I wanted to tell you that people said hello.
Yeah.
Whatever you didn't. Which one's
two? I got two of them.
Okay.
These,
Did you get
this one?
With the trading families, I got it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's the best trade of the 70s.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Monday night. Glad you're in. Slick's doing sports. Rick Delgado's doing the news. David Zier's here as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down. As always, glad you're in. Make sure you follow us on our social media. So important. At LFS6B everywhere. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, Truth, Rumble. Instagram, LFS6B show, and of course live from studio6b.com. Make sure you're a membership over there, absolutely free. Takes about 5 seconds to sign up. Make sure we have your name and email, and you stay up to date with everything we're doing live from studio6b.com. All right, let's do some more news with David Ziers, the host of Breaking Point, 8 a.m. right here on Real America's Voice. Mr. Zier, what else is going on?
So
you're going back to the city now for tomorrow for day 2.
I will be leaving at 3:30 in the morning. Wow. Back in. A very exciting day tomorrow. So we got the trial. There's going to be a lot of information coming out of the courthouse and stuff. But, we get updates from the Trump campaign throughout the day. I have something very special that I can't reveal yet tomorrow going on. Mm-hmm. I'll be able to share it tomorrow night. Hopefully I'll get back in time for the show.
Is it what you're wearing that day?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm borrowing one of Slick's jackets. And, but, it should be a special day for Rav. So just stay tuned. And I just wanted to talk about the rally. I didn't know because I was late that you played some of the people who love LFS6B.
No, I didn't play. I just shared it on social media.
Oh, you shared it?
We can play them if you want. It's up to you.
Yeah, if you have them up, because I didn't get a chance to send anything up. They're short. Couple of Rav watchers, and they love you guys, the Ricks and Damon. I had about 4 or 5, interviews that I did. I'll get the rest up this week. But, these people are just regular people, unassuming, God-fearing.
You were in Pennsylvania, right?
Hardworking, Schnecksville, Pennsylvania, about halfway between Biden's birthplace, which was north of there, about 68 miles, and Philly. It was between the two. Eastern Pennsylvania, a Democratic district, a plus 7.5 district for Biden in the 2020 election. The crowd was so massive, Damon. The biggest rallies I've covered over the years, in 5 years, Conroe, Texas, probably 60,000 people. It was massive. Waco, last year, I think it was April, probably 25,000 people. There's been a couple of big ones like that. But this one, it's a working class area. People don't make a lot of money over there. These are former steel towns, Bethlehem Steel, coal, and a lot of these industries are gone or almost gone. And now Lehigh Valley, which is a nice area, isn't as like Wilkes-Barre north of there, and Scranton, where Biden's from, very depressed in ways. It's a great place to retire because you only need $28,000 a year to live. But these people don't make a lot of money, and Lehigh Valley's all healthcare and stuff like that now. But they're struggling. And gas is expensive in Pennsylvania. It's more than here. And these people are getting hit really, really hard. So we're in this little town of Schnecksville, right outside of Allentown, a few miles out. You couldn't move in the whole town. There's only 4,000 people in the town. You couldn't move in any direction for like hours. hours and hours. We were waiting. We set up our equipment. We went out to buy thermal shirts at Walmart because you have a 2-hour Secret Service sweep. When you set up your gear, you have to leave. We couldn't get back in. We didn't know if we were going to make it back in. And we finally pulled into the parking lot. It was 5 hours before Trump spoke, and there were already 11,000 people there 5 hours before Trump spoke. Now, that venue only holds about 7,000, maybe 8 inside, but because it was the bleachers and the standing room only, but then behind it, there's a few thousand people. But that line was half a mile to a mile long of people. And if you're 1 foot apart, and then if you're sideways and you're, 5 spread or three people spread and everybody in line, you're talking about 5,000 to 10,000 people in line. So my estimates, and we've cut a lot of rallies, I've covered almost 100 Trump events, there were definitely 12,000, 15,000 people there that showed up. And who knows how many converged in the area. And Trump uses bigger numbers when he speaks, but I think he's just stick it in the eye on the left, let them challenge it and count everybody. But I just wanted to say, people are in trouble out there, and it's really starting to hit home. I think it's really starting to hit home, especially with these new CPI numbers and the jobs and everything. Everybody's working multiple jobs, and you see it in the faces of people. You see it in the faces of people where we go in the last 2 or 3 years, especially since COVID. They're beaten down. They're beaten down. They're tired of being told they're the bad people for being the good people. And a lot of them are struggling. So I just wanted to share, it was a very special experience, especially with the rockets flying and everything. People were very concerned. It broke out 2 hours before the rally. People are worried. I think Israel's going to take the gloves off. They killed 2 Iranian Revolutionary Guard commanders in Syria. This thing is not going to end anytime soon. So people are wonderful, and they love Real America's Voice, and it's the same thing wherever you go. They turn it on in the morning. They don't turn it off till they go to bed. And they love you guys, and they're all War Room posse, and they're just the great people. And I wouldn't trade it for the world to be around them. So just wanted to
here's a couple that I shared. I don't know if you remember these people's names, but here's the first one.
Yeah. How you guys doing today?
Oh my God, we're excited. Here we go.
Big crowd. We got about 11,000, they said, so far showed up here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you watch Real America's Voice?
We do.
Excellent.
See why you needed a thermal.
Oh, you watch 6B? Trump said he was freezing his ass off. 6B crew.
Yeah.
What do you got to say? What do you got to say to them?
Damon? Oh, yeah, Rick. It's like Rick, babe.
All right. Yeah, Smash Dresser, right?
That's right.
All right, what's your names?
I'm Gabe.
Hi, Gabe. Hi, Ed. Great to meet you. We'll see you inside.
All right, there you go, Slick.
There you go.
You know,
Sharp dresser.
We joke, the crew, the cameraman. I work with Brandon Jarvis a lot. Very talented, just a great guy. They can rely on him anywhere in the country. And he's a storm chaser. A lot of our guys are storm chasers too. And Eric Fox and the bunch. But we always joke, it's always extreme weather, no matter where we go. It's never like just beautiful out, you know? But that's what, these people stand in line for hours. It was like 35 degrees with the wind chill. The wind was blowing at 30 knots. Well,
they want to hear a message of hope.
I think I think people are really worried now. I think they're really
They want
worried.
to hear a message of hope. They want to hear that the country they remember, and most of us grew up in and remember, is still out there somewhere. And
I think they're yearning for that leadership that the world's been missing.
There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So, all right, great stuff, David Zier. Let's do some other news with Rick Delgado. News is brought to you by 7Cells, 7cells.com. Our code LFS6B is 20% off if you want to use it. If you shop over there, great stuff for your health, for your skin. Their skincare line is really, really nice. What else is going on, Delgado?
All right. Well, I know you were talking about, people, living on a budget. And of course, we've talked about the increase in taxes and how credit card use is through the roof and car loans are right behind them. As a mom, this story coming from the Daily Mail, 28 is forced to sell her dream car after forking out over $40,000 in interest over the first 3 years of the car loan. As America's auto debt spirals to $1.6 trillion. This is unbelievable. 3 years ago, 28-year-old Blasey Arnold entered a local auto dealership and came away with the keys to an $84,000 Chevy Tahoe. But this month, the wedding photographer and mother shared a video on TikTok describing how she was forced to sell her car despite paying, I don't even know there's no way I would pay this, $1,400 a month in payments, totaling more than $50,000. Believe it or not, she still owed a balance of $74,000 to GM Financial after 3 years.
That's terrible.
Not only did she not make a down payment, but she also traded in a previous car, which had fallen into negative equity. So a lot of people are falling for these traps. Basically, honestly, she says it blows my mind that I've paid $50,000 into this car and only paid off $10,000. She told the Daily Mail the loan was issued to her the very day she visited the dealer, and that had an APR of, get this, 10.2%.
You got to get a new dealer.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never heard of such a thing.
It's insane. The fact that, and I've heard about this, and they've done this, they've kind of sped up this process in New York. I know it wasn't always that way, that you could walk into a dealer and walk out within an hour or two with a car and the keys, if they can get all the paperwork done in time. Like, I'd done that in Florida when I had my Cool Life and I lived down there, because Florida was they're different processes with registration and insurance. They can get it done very quickly. Like, they want to send you home with a car. New York, a little bit different. She told the Daily Mail the loan was issued with 10.2. She says, I did not go to my husband, and as a female, I felt like they took advantage of me. The $84,000 loan was issued to her by GM Financial, the financial services arm of General Motors.
So I do that when I lease cars from Ford and Chevy, and I usually walk out right away with a car. But like the last time, my wife was with the guy and I was late, and he put some BS in there about the warranty. No, how the payments were made. And it actually wound up to cost us a few thousand more of the cost of the lease.
Right.
So when we looked at it, I corrected it. But if we didn't know, it would have been more money.
Yeah.
You should never go to the dealership until you're going to pick the car up. All your business you should just do over the phone. You should never go in the dealership.
Yeah.
Because these guys are professionals. And by the way, that woman got ripped off, whatever dealership she went to, because the Tahoe is not even the Suburban is considered bigger and more expensive than the Tahoe. And how do I know? Because my wife drives one. And I can tell you, our price on the Suburban, which I also got no money down, I got a way better rate, but still is way less than that payment. So that girl got taken. They saw her coming from a mile away.
Wow.
But also, I think she got all the toys because it was her dream car. So they probably upsold her on everything.
I got all the toys too on an RST Suburban, which is way bigger than more expensive than the Tahoe, and my payment's not even. I mean that trust me, that something's not right about that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Big D's got a hot tub in the back of that Tahoe. Come on, Big D.
And by the way, the payment on ours makes me want to puke every month. Oh, but I need the room. Oh God, kill me.
All right, shifting gears a little bit back to the Middle East, as Iraqi lawmakers, believe it or not, they stepped up and they're postponing a vote on a bill including death penalty for same-sex acts. Iraqi lawmakers have postponed this bill that includes the death penalty or life in prison for same-sex relations, a measure that diplomats from the Western countries said could have serious consequences for Iraq's political and economic ties if it goes through. Parliament was in session earlier today with the bill, an amendment to the anti-prostitution law. Second on its agenda, it imposes life imprisonment or death penalty for anyone engaging in same-sex relations or anyone who swaps their wife with someone else's for sexual purposes. Well, that sounds like a sports story, for crimini's sake.
I'd like to just point out that Moon Pie on YouTube says Suburbans can run down those concrete dividers on the freeway. That's a good point. And by the way, before we hit the break, we'll do some more news with Delgado. I don't know if Senator Tom Cotton's watching the show right now, but this is the tweet he just put out. Throw this up, Aaron, real quick. I encourage people who get stuck behind the pro-Hamas mobs blocking traffic, take matters into your own hands to get them out of the way. Yeah. It's time to put an end to this nonsense. Amen.
Yeah, but he didn't write in there beat ass.
Well, I said it, and I meant it. My Titleist driver, beat ass.
Beat some ass. Sounds like a good weekend. She paid $1,400 a month for 3 years to service an $84,000 loan.
What was it? 10% interest?
At 10%.
She's an idiot.
She's
yeah. I'm not sticking up for any dealerships.
Yeah, it goes to like 6-7% now, top.
Come on, stop.
Yeah.
Number one, if you just shop that around to any other dealership, you'd find out that deal was a joke. Even if you don't know anybody.
Yeah, it looks like she got it all decked out too.
I went from
well, all decked out meaning what? I got the RST that's all decked out as
what's your payment? 800?
I think she got big tires. She like decked out. They were going to bury her.
Well, this guy
they did.
This guy put it in a different leasing company that I usually go through. It wasn't direct through Ford, so it was like another $2,000 in payments. So we fixed it right because I bought 15 cars from this place, you know. So, but I wasn't there, and I told my wife to wait, and they give me a car in like 2 hours. We're in and out.
If they can get you, they'll get you.
Oh yeah.
You got to.
Good thing you caught that, Dave. Oof.
Yeah, well, we did the math when you added up the payments, and it was more. So we were like, what the fuck? And then we realized it was a different company. It wasn't Ford Financial. And
it was Can't Afford Financial.
It was Fred's Financial?
No.
Who's Fred? He's just a guy we use.
Fred!
Yeah, it was Vinny Gumbat's leasing company in Queens.
Good Lord. Wow, that's a shock. Caitlin Clark was selected number 1 in the draft.
Wow, they already had the draft already?
Well,
Man,
yeah,
they don't wait.
It takes 15 minutes. They only invite 10 people.
Yeah, they only have, like 10 teams, 12 teams?
Indiana Fever. I'd already ordered my jumpsuit.
I guess we're live on YouTube because I think the comment I read was from YouTube.
From the YouTube?
From the YouTube. Go to the YouTube.
If you go to the YouTube.
My name is Bernie. I want your taxes to be 90%. 90%.
He must be sick, Sterling. There's got to be something going on.
Yeah, it has to be.
He doesn't have to say anything. He doesn't want to.
He was best. Sterling and Kay were the best.
Yankees win.
I'm not crazy about Waldman.
Yankees win.
Oh, I hate Susan Waldman.
No, the best ever was Phil Rizzuto. I love Phil Rizzuto.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, 13 to the hour live from Studio 6B on a Monday. Glad you've been a part of the show. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Slick's doing news. David Zier's done some news as well. He'll be back in New York City tomorrow. Hopefully join us tomorrow night if he can get back here in time. Let's do a little more news. Says he has a couple more stories, and that would be Rick Delgado. What else is going on?
All right. I don't know if you caught any of Bill Maher lately, but he's been making headlines. One thing, we play some of these Bill Maher clips simply because they seem to make sense, and we're like, oh my goodness, it's almost like he's turning the corner. Like you could say, like, wow, that's the way we think.
But then he says something.
Right. Then he says something, and you go, that's right. He's a complete wacko lefty, and this is one instance where that is fully on display. Yep. This is Bill Maher talking about the issue of abortion. Cut number 11. Check this out.
I scold the left on when they say, oh, you know what? They just hate women. People who aren't pro-life, pro-choice. They don't hate women. They just made that up. They think it's murder, and it kind of is. I'm just okay with that. I am. I mean, there's 8 billion people in the world. I'm sorry, we won't miss you.
What an ass.
That's
that pretty much tells you who he is.
There you go. Not only him, that's their position. We won't miss you. There's too many people in the world, and if it happens to be the 9th month, or like Ralph Northam there in Virginia said, if it's after the birth and you have to have a discussion, as he said, with the mom or dad or whatever, that's their position is abortion on demand at any time, any place, no restrictions, no nothing. That's it right there. And he encapsulates it. It kind of is, but, we're okay with it. That's their position.
Yeah, it's scary. Scary to hear because, again, a lot of times people go, oh, my goodness, he's one of us. No, not really. Maybe on a few things where he sees the light on, but not really. Another one of those people that you might think, oh, my goodness, maybe he's a conservative now. Senator John Fetterman.
Well, by the way, before we move on to that, I don't want to say there's some people who you would think would be on our side are there, but they're certainly moving in the wrong direction on this. On the wrong direction, or they're taking really bad advice, thinking they're gonna somehow placate people who are. I don't know what's going on our side when it comes to abortion.
What do you mean in terms of
these positions that are being taken?
Well, I mean. If you're talking about the position of trying to ban it nationwide, I think that's a bad position. That's a losing position. I mean, I think it's right the way it is. Leave it to the states. It's a state issue. It's always been a state issue. It should have been a state issue, and that's why they overturned it, to make it a state issue. That's
fine for us to talk about in the show, but
right.
if you're running for office and someone comes to you and says, "What's your position?" If you're a supposed conservative, your position should be, "I don't agree with murder."
Right.
And I don't agree with it in New York or in Tennessee.
Right.
I don't agree with murder, especially murder of humans. And then question 2 is, well, what happens in a woman's stomach at a conception? Is that a human? If your answer is yes, then I would refer you back to question 1 that you answered. And then that's your position. Your position isn't, if you're a supposed conservative, isn't, well, I'll only talk about this in the concept of how it will affect my election possibilities. That's not taking a position. Seems to me. So, I don't know. It's easy for me to say I'm not running.
Well, I mean, there's your personal belief, and then there's the, what the state will vote on, right? So it's like you can have this, I have this personal, opinion, and this is what I believe.
But if your personal belief changes to try to placate people who you want to vote for you so you can win the election, is that truly your position?
I don't think that's. I think you're talking about two different things. Are you saying that their position should be, I'm going to stand on this and try to make it the state law?
If your state passes something saying that abortion is outlawed in any situation, and you're pro-life, your position should be, then I would think at that point, good job for the states. Good job for my state.
Right.
Let's take the win where we can take it.
Okay.
Now, New York, if you want to get an abortion in 9 months, they're still letting you. And there's nothing I can do about that, but I'll take my state's win and stand up for life. Wouldn't that seem to be a reasonable thing?
That seems reasonable.
Okay. Well, that's my only point.
All right. Well, I don't think we're opposing.
Well, we are opposing.
Are we? How? I just don't see it as a federal thing. I think, like you said, if that's the win for your state, you take the win for your state. And
you don't come out and say, I think the state went too far.
The people of the state have spoken, and so, we'll respect their wishes. I don't agree with it, or I agree with it. So I guess that's your stand. Again, just because it's your position, is that going to be what you're going to push for? I don't know, because if it's already been determined by the state, by the voters that have also already spoken and said, hey, this is what we want, this is the law we want, and this is what we're good with. Okay, I don't agree with it, but since this is the rules of the state, we have to abide by it. I'm not cheerleading, abortion. I'm just saying, if that's it in Florida, if that's what they want, 6 weeks or 15 weeks, who are we to say, the people of Florida are wrong or the people of Tennessee are wrong?
We're not, but if you're running in that state, you need to have a position and you should have some courage of your convictions, supposedly. So if you're running for, let's say, I don't know, in Arizona, and Arizona outlaws it, you shouldn't be saying, I think they went too far. My position is this. I'm for life, but I'm not every mother. What? Those are Democrat talking points. That's my point. Again, it's simple. Do you believe in the murder of other humans? If you don't, that's the answer to question 1. If you believe that what happens at inception is a human, then that's the answer to number 2. So number 2, see answer number 1.
No, I understand that. But when a law is a law in a state, and you're running in that state, you can disagree with the law, but it's not going to change
but you
anything.
Shouldn't be disagreeing with it if you're supposedly pro-life, and the win is clearly pro-life.
I think we're talking about two different.
I think we are. What else is going on in the news?
It's time to turn it over to Slick Rick. That's what's going on.
Okay. Slick, let's do some sports before we wrap it up.
All right, let's get to the scoreboard real quick. NHL action. Rangers over the Senators, 4-0, 4 to go there in the third. Looks like the Rangers are on their way to a big win. Oilers 2-0 over the Sharks, 11 to go there. Also in the first, the Islanders earlier tonight beat the Devils 4-1, have clinched the playoff spot. Look out. Penguins also 4-2 over the Predators. They look like they have a shot possibly at the playoffs, but the Capitals are going to have something to say about that because they beat the Bruins 2-0 earlier tonight. NBA will have tomorrow night. We'll get to that. And, one quick story. Caitlin Clark was picked number 1 tonight, Big D. Of course, to no one's surprise, WNBA draft. She was picked number 1 by the Indiana Fever. And this is in Brooklyn. They had the event. Clark is poised to not only help the Fever return to the postseason for the first time since 2016, but also use her star power to jolt the WNBA at a critical juncture in its history. I think more than anything, I'm just really excited. Clark told NBC over the weekend. Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark. Second pick, LA Sparks, Cameron Brink, and the Chicago Sky picked up the center from South Carolina, Camila Cardoso. So we have a very good draft tonight. And we'll see. NHRA. We don't have no time for that. NHRA. I'll get to that tomorrow night. The National Hot Rod in Vegas. Hot weekend in Vegas at the Strip. We'll get to that tomorrow night, Big D. That's
Did you guys see this vote in Congress like an hour ago about squeezing Iran? Only 11 nays. Tlaib, Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Cori Bush. There were only 11 who objected to cutting off tax-exempt status to terrorist organizations, and they support that. They support not cutting off the tax-exempt status to terrorist-supporting organizations in the United States.
The Hamas caucus. All right, as always, we salute our military, active and inactive, police, firefighters, first responders, EMTs, everybody on the front lines protecting us, all our truckers, all our farmers. Thanks, guys, on the show. Aaron Frank, great job as always. David Zier, have a good day tomorrow in the city. Stay safe, my man, and we will see you tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Most of all, thank you to Live from Studio 6B audience. We will see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. right here, live from Studio 6B.